Welcome to the Jan Meeuwsen Garden Show on 99.7 and 1450 WHTC. It's your opportunity to learn more about your garden and your yard, about dealing with pests, and about taking care of the birds. You can be part of the show with your questions at 395-1450. That's 395-1450. And now, from DeBruyn Seeds on Washington Avenue in Zeeland, here's the Master Gardener, Jan Meeuwsen.
And good morning, everyone, and happy 2 days before Christmas. It's not Christmas Eve quite yet, but hey, it's getting there. I love this time of year. It's so special. And we're going to talk about, well, you can give us a call here at 616-395-1450. I've got it. 616-395-1450. Adam's over there laughing because he knows what I'm going to talk about now.
Well, I was going to tell you, it's, the day before Christmas. It's Christmas Eve.
Oh.
Christmas Eve today.
Okay. I didn't know that. Didn't know that was a holiday, but obviously it is. We're going to talk about, plants as, and kind of that how they got so involved with Christmas and, why are like poinsettias involved in Christmas and why is that a symbol of Christmas? So the first one here is Adam's absolute favorite story. And it's the story of amaryllis. And, it is the beautiful flower. It has a huge flower, usually, up to like 6 or 7 even flowers on each stalk. They're beautiful, and it's probably got, involved with Christmas because it blooms during the winter time, or you can make it bloom during the winter time. Most of ours nowadays are set to bloom during midwinter in the house. But it comes from an ancient Greek mythology, and it's about a woman named Amaryllis. And she fell in love with a shepherd named Altio. But he only had love for flowers and would only love someone who could give him a new flower. So Amaryllis consulted with the oracle and was instructed to wound herself with an arrow at Altio's doorstep while expressing her love for him. And after 30 days of this, of stabbing yourself with an arrow, now we know why this is a myth, a large red flower bloomed from the spot where her blood had hit the ground. And she presented this new flower to Altio, and they fell in love and got married. What a shallow man he was, but what an idiot she was.
I was going to say, if anyone's ever done this to try to, meet somebody, please call in and tell your story.
Yeah, really. I certainly hope not. But as for it's also thought that it also comes from the growing habit of this is tied to Saint Joseph's staff. And the story goes that Joseph was chosen to become the Virgin Mary's husband after his staff sprouted amaryllis blooms. So I'd like to see you use an amaryllis stalk as a cane to begin with. I don't think it's got enough, but whatever. That's, it's so easy to grow. Anybody can do an amaryllis. So, it's kind of a fun Christmas flower. And the story of amaryllis in Greek mythology, while it is a kind of an odd one, and it's not, like Saturn is involved or whatever, or Zeus. I can't remember who's in the Greek mythology and who's in the Roman, but yes, but it's kind of fun. They come in multiple colors. It's not just red anymore. It comes in pink and white and variations of the 3 colors. So, it's kind of fun. After the holidays, once it's done blooming, you can treat it like a house plant and you can hopefully start all over again with it next year. But remember, it is a poisonous bulb. We don't want our dogs or cats or kids chewing on it, although I don't know why they would, but it will give them a really bad upset stomach if they do. So keep them away from chewing that. But that's where it gets its name from. That it was named after Greek mythology, a girl named Amaryllis who fell in love with a guy who wanted a new flower. So what imaginations they must have had back then. I'm just extremely excited about that.
I've been waiting all year just to hear this story
That
again.
story again. I know it's your favorite. Well, there's more than one flower. Christmas cactus also, kind of included in with the holiday flowers. There's also a Christmas cactus and a Thanksgiving cactus. The Christmas cactus has a scalloped edge, while the Thanksgiving cactus has a more pointed edge on it. Most of the cactuses that we sell nowadays are Thanksgiving or some sort of hybrid between Thanksgiving and cactus, but they all bloom around the holiday period or anytime it's 60 days after they have been exposed to 3 nights of cooler weather. Then they sprout their blooms. They are native to the mountainous forests of southeastern Brazil, and they are epiphytes, and they grow in the crotches of trees and derive water and nutrition from rain and decaying organic matter and filtered sunlight. Quite a far distance from our Christmas cactus that we get right now. The flattened stems are called phylloclades, and they are the parts that do the photosynthesis of the plant. It's kind of a fun thing. You can make it bloom whenever you want. Just you have to expose it to the cooler temperatures at night for 3 nights in a row, and then you can get it to bloom. I've had mine bloom already at Easter. I've got one that blooms, not full blooms. I've got a yellow one, and everybody thinks this one is so cool. But the problem was it never goes into full bloom. It's just, blooms here and there, and they fall off at the drop of a hat. They still look good, and they fall off. They are all around the floor of my house. Those stupid blooms are, and they bloom all winter long. Just, maybe 4 or 5 now, and then 10 later, and then 12, and then maybe 6. And you never know how many are going to bloom. And I've got a bright pink one that is in full bloom right now. And I swear at the end of every stalk or whatever you call it, there is a beautiful bloom. And it stays on the plant even after they're all shrunk up. So you can just pick them off rather than trying to pick them up off the floor. And I will tell you that there's a dye in those flowers that if it gets wet and hits your floor, it will stain. So do be careful with that where you've got them. So hopefully they don't, go on something that's going to stain. But yes, they are fun. They're fun to do like right now, when my pink one full bloom, it is a gorgeous plant. Absolutely gorgeous. Yellow one, not so much. And then it's yellow at first, the first day, and then it kind of fades away it's not that nice of a cactus. I feel like, I don't know why I got it. I thought that would be such a cool thing. I'm going to stick with pink, but pink and red are really probably the most popular colors. People can keep these for generations. My mother had her grandmother's Christmas cactus. It can only be moved just so often, though. It doesn't like to, if you got a good spot for it in your house, and it likes to be in indirect sunlight in your house, in a bright room, but not right in the window. And if you start moving it around, like I've got my sister who loves to move things. Every time you go to her house, everything's been rearranged. Christmas cactus would not like it there. They like to stay in one spot. This is where I like to live, and this is it. So don't move it around too much, and you should be fine. And when it is full bloom, do not move it. Especially, like if you normally take your plants over to the sink to water them, don't do that unless you mark exactly where you where it was, because if you put your plant down like 60 degrees off from where it was before, the little flowers will twist to get the same sunlight that it got before, and they'll just twist themselves right off. So don't be twisting the pot around, rotating the pot around at all when it's in full bloom. So that's just my warning to you. They do best if they just stay right where they are. But, there's really no, religious thing stuck on a Christmas cactus. It's just basically because they bloom, you can make them bloom during Christmas. Now, poinsettia, they're called the flower of the Holy Night because the red bracts, which are said to represent the flaming star of Bethlehem, are come out, during the nativity season. So that's why native to Mexico, it was cultivated by the Aztecs. And this one is also used to make a reddish purple dye. So do be careful with that one too. The Aztecs also made a fever medicine from the poinsettia's milky sap. And after the Spanish conquest and introduction of Christianity, they began to be used in Christian rituals. In the 17th century, Franciscan priests used the plant as part of their nativity celebration because it bloomed during the Advent season. Worshippers placed the flowers around a manger built at the church altar, and it's named after this is not the name of it in Mexican or Spanish or whatever. It's named after Dr. Joel Poinsett, and he was the American ambassador to Mexico from 1825 to 1829. And he was so enamored of this plant that he sent cuttings home to South Carolina, and the plants flourished in his greenhouse back home. And credited with selling them and kind of distributing them is Albert Eck. It's a Swiss farmer who lived near Los Angeles in the 1890s. He became the leading producer of poinsettias or poinsettias, I don't care what you say, in the United States. They only lasted a few days in the house, and all of them just had red. Today's varieties, and I know I've seen them in the wild in Southern California and in Mexico, they get really tall and lanky. We have bred them to be short, compact, so they have more red on them and it lasts longer. So they've really done a lot with them. It's kind of a fun thing. Now they come in red, pink, white, gold, marbled, and variegated, plus spray painted. You see the purple ones and the other ones too. So we continue with the garden show after these messages.
Let's get back to the Jan Meeuwsen Garden Show. Call the Master Gardener from DeBruyn Seeds in Zeeland now at 395-1450. Once again, here's Jan Meeuwsen.
And we're back, and we're talking about holiday plants that plants that have something to do with the holidays. And we've talked about Christmas cactus and amaryllis and poinsettias. And I'm going to change the subject, and we're going to go on to a bird right now. If you've ever been to Europe, you'll always notice that, like in England and even up into Russia, they talk about robin redbreast, and it's not the robin that we know. It's slightly smaller, and it's a sedentary British garden bird. You see it everywhere. And this time of the year, they're joined by migratory robins from Scandinavia coming down. And so it makes it even more common to see the robin redbreast at Christmas time. Now, when I was in Russia, and I'm not kidding you, I think we were above the Arctic Circle. I know that in Russia. And at this little cold village, and these people were so happy to see us and felt like obligated to buy something. And I bought a Christmas stocking. and it's got a robin redbreast on it. And I could not figure out, now, why would they put this little bird with a red breast on a Christmas stocking? But because it is so commonly seen during the holiday season, that's why it's been known. It's correlated with the holidays. And according to a Christmas legend, a robin landed on the shoulder of Jesus when he was on the cross and sang to him in order to relieve his suffering. And the blood from Jesus' crown of thorns stained the little bird's chest. And from then on, all robins were red-breasted. So that's how Robin got his red breast. That's according to the thing. But they're very much included in European things with the holidays. Now, our robins, no, they have all flown south. So we don't ever equate them with the holidays, but they do. The Christmas tree, going to talk about that for a little bit. That is one of those things that who knows how in the world it ever came about. It's everybody seems to want to claim it. Martin Luther, he was the one that first brought it in the house and put candles on it because it reminded him of the Starry Night. But the Christmas tree goes back further than Martin Luther does. So it came from around the Germany area where present day Germany is right now. And it probably came in with the Druids who would worship the evergreen tree because it was evergreen. Everything else died in the winter and it stayed green. So they worshiped the evergreen type things. And they would bring the tree inside the house. And it probably got somehow caught up with that. And that's why it got brought in the house. And everybody wants to claim it. Who knows where it came from? There was an English missionary. His name is Winfrid, and he was later known as Saint Boniface. And he went into Germany. He became famous for the Christmas tree in Germany. So that was before Martin Luther also. So, it's kind of around in there. Who knows why it first came? They would put things like apples on the tree, things like would normally be on trees, or flowers, or even little presents. Didn't really have a whole lot of decorations per se, just meant for the holiday tree until German glassmakers, and this is so funny, at the end of the day, they always had leftover glass. So they would go and just make glass balls out of it and bring them home. And their wives would decorate them. And then it got to be where they would decorate them and put them on the trees at Christmas. And then they started selling them. So that's where that's why Germany is really equated with the decorations that you put on the Christmas tree also. And it comes from the German glass blowers that didn't know what to do with the excess glass at the end of every day, because it wasn't enough to make something huge, but they could make a couple little glass balls, and their wives got handy, they could put something in it. They got very, very, very descriptive. So, yes. They put candy, fruit, roses were a big part of putting them on the trees. I don't know where you'd get a rose from unless you somehow dried it. I'm not quite sure. Yeah. And when the Revolutionary War, England hired some German troops, and they brought the Christmas tree over with them when they were celebrating Christmas here. So it kind of stuck with the colonies from the German troops that came during the Revolutionary War. So it did, even when the world was so far apart and travel was hard, it did spread. It didn't spread quickly, but it did spread. And pretty soon we're all having artificial trees in our houses made of aluminum and heaven knows what. But it's just it's such a part of Christmas now that it's kind of funny that it really came probably from a Druid thing where they were worshiping the evergreen because that's the sign of immortality. So, yes. But then we also came to starting making wreaths. Wreaths that have represented the unending cycle of life and been symbols of victory and honor. Romans used evergreen branches to make wreaths, and they actually put them on their head, usually laurel leaves on their head. And we don't know how they really got to be hanging decorations, but maybe, getting that wreath and putting it on your head. Once you get home, what do you do with it? You hang it up. So maybe that's how it came. The Christmas, the Advent wreath is really German in origin with the 4 candles. That came from Germany. A lot of this stuff comes from Germany. Didn't really realize there were so many Druids and things like that. What the early Christians did, especially in Rome, they like to celebrate Saturn on the winter solstice. And they would celebrate Saturn by decorating their houses with evergreen boughs and candles, etc. And the Christians, not wanting to be correlated, with being a Christian back then, they would decorate the same way that the Romans did, celebrating their god Saturn. So they would decorate with boughs and whatever also. They made it to be about Christianity, rather than being about celebrating Saturn. Once, 300 AD, when it wasn't a sin or unlawful to be a Christian, it came out, it was more common. But they used to, try to blend in, and I really don't blame them. I'd want to blend in also. So that's why we started it. And, I don't think I was trying to think of somebody that didn't celebrate the winter solstice. They did realize that was the shortest day of the year, and the days started getting longer after that. You think about Stonehenge and whatever, way back they understood, those magical days of the year, when either the days got longer, the days got shorter, or the days were equal. That is the whole reason why we celebrate during midwinter, just because it's kind of a bleak and kind of a dull and dreary time. So, you can only make it better by celebrating with fun things in the house and candles and greens and mistletoe. And mistletoe was kind of an odd thing. It is extremely poisonous. The berries on mistletoe will kill you. That's why the mistletoe, and it's a state flower, I think, of Oklahoma or something like that. And it does grow down there. It can be very, it grows on everything. It's another one of those epiphytes where it lives off some other living being. And but the berries are extremely poisonous. If you do get mistletoe in the store now, they do take off the berries and they put on plastic ones, just because they are that poisonous. So we certainly don't want that to happen. So if you ever see it in the wild, it's really that poisonous, folks. So don't. The leaves, no, but the berries really are quite poisonous. And it was used to be something that represented good luck. And I don't know how we got it to be involved with kissing, but it represented good luck. It foretold a good crop the next year. If you had a good mistletoe crop, you are going to have a good crop of your other stuff. And it also, if you were around 1300 and you're going to do a pact with another tribe or whatever, you would do that with mistletoe, because it was that important at that point in time. It became that important to nothing. It's kind of amazing. But it is, we used to see it a lot more when I was a kid than we do right now. Well, maybe I'm just out of it right now, but it used to be an extremely, extremely important part of the winter celebrations way back. So we need to stop, take a break for the news, but we should be back after that with more of the garden show.
Let's get back to the Jan Meeuwsen Garden Show. Call the Master Gardener from DeBruyn Seeds in Zeeland now at 395-1450. Once again, here's Jan Meeuwsen.
And we are back. We've been talking about the plants and how they became, ingrained in with the holiday traditions here. We've been talking about mistletoe. Mistletoe was such an important thing way back in the day. It meant so many things. It was the peace plant. It was if you're going to do a truce between two warring nations, you did it under mistletoe. And then somehow it got associated with kissing. Meant it just once it got involved with kissing, then it was kind of an easy way to get it down into where we do it now. Victorian period in England, they always had an ornate kissing ring. And it had sprigs of mistletoe fastened to it, and it was suspended from the ceiling, and the girls were kissed beneath it. And they think that might have been from an old pagan marriage ritual. Not quite sure, but in the original superstition, the one who avoids a kiss under the mistletoe will have bad luck. But the man is meant to present the kisses with a mistletoe berry. It's always nice to give somebody you love something so incredibly poisonous. But hey, thankfully that one's done. Once the berries are gone, the kissing stops. It's bad luck to remove it from the house until it is replaced next year. So you've got some plant hanging from your ceiling for an entire year. I don't know. That doesn't sound anything like Christmas to me.
So they have a dead plant the rest of the year hanging out.
Yes.
With no berries on it.
With no berries on it.
Because you've kissed the berries away.
Yep.
And then you got to wait. You can't take it down. You got to leave it there until next Christmas.
Nope. You got to leave it there until next Christmas.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's kind of interesting, but yeah, okay. It's kind of a fun thing. And I'm not really sure why Christmas and mistletoe are still kind of a hard thing to draw together. But holly, now that's an easy one to go. The holly branches, they make wreaths out of, they make whatever. And holly was very important in the celebration of the ancient Romans for the celebration of the god Saturn. So again, that's Saturnalia, I guess they call it. Festival was held during the winter solstice, and the Romans gave one another holly wreaths, carried them around, decked images of Saturn with it. So that's why, the early Christians in Rome, they would probably not give it to Saturn, but they would decorate their house just so they would kind of go under the radar. And even after Christianity became okay in Rome, the church fathers really disapproved of anything of the plants. Christmas trees, they probably didn't hear about those, but the holly and those things, everything was way too pagan. They couldn't do it. But how things become, every year it gets kind of more ingrained in what you do. So that's how it kind of got into the religious part of it. Just kind of, everybody was doing it, so we're doing it, but for a different reason. So it's good. I think it's fun. I like all the stuff that we have that means something. And according to some stories, it is said that only the holly tree consented to be cut down and its wood made into a cross to bear Jesus. And some people believe that Jesus wore a crown of holly thorns, whose berries were originally white, and as Jesus' blood touched the berries, they turned red. And the green leaves of the holly plants have come to represent everlasting life, and the berries, the blood of Jesus. So that's why holly is decorated in churches nowadays. It does have meaning to us.
When we did our little kilt pub crawl for Christmas this year, one of the guys, of course, he dresses Santa in a kilt, but he has a holly plant and his front yard. So before before we left, he cut a few of the twigs off, so we carried a little holly with us and put it on somewhere on us, so
Very
we could
good.
have it. Yeah.
Very good. Yes, you're right in with the traditions here. So everybody should have some. So I think everybody should have a little bit of all of this. And I'm going to be remiss if I don't remind people. I've still got some time here. DeBruyn's is open until 3 today. We still are selling. You have no idea how much. Oh my goodness, the amaryllis bulbs have been going this year. The phone was not busy at all this morning, and every call I had was, do you still have amaryllis? And yes, the answer is yes. We have amaryllis bulbs. We have amaryllis in kits. The guys have even planted up some of the amaryllis in pots. You can buy those if you'd like. We've got waxed amaryllis. We've got amaryllis whatever way you want. We have them. So don't worry about that. And they make great plants, not just at Christmas, but February 14th for Valentine's Day. A red amaryllis is absolutely beautiful. And just to have something growing in your house in the wintertime, it is well worth it. And then to get those glorious blooms on it, how much fun can you have? You can get a waxed amaryllis. You never have to do anything except put the bulb out, take it out of its package and put it out in your living room or wherever you're going to put it. And you just look at it and it grows by itself and you don't have to water it and you don't have to take care of it. It is wonderful. I love those things. I love amaryllis in the wintertime. I usually do a couple of them around my house. I do some for year after year, but then I always get a new one or so. There's new colors every year, it seems like, but there was a year I was into white ones, and then there was a year, this year it seems to be more red in my house right now, and that's fine too, but it's just fun to have something growing. I get so antsy that I want to be outside in the garden doing something. And this way I've got my own little garden at home. I've got my poinsettia plant. I've got my holly. I've got my outside. I've got my poinsettia. I have my Christmas cactus. I've got all these flowers at home. And I love walking around and having them bloom in my house. I love it when they're blooming outside in the summer, but in the winter, it means an awful lot when the days are like this, gray. And to suddenly see some color and something green and growing, it's well worth it. So yes, I'm all about that. Oh, we need to take a break right now, but we will return with the Garden Show right after these messages.
Let's get back to the Jan Meeuwsen Garden Show. Call the Master Gardener from DeBruyn Seeds in Zeeland now at 395-1450. Once again, here's Jan Meeuwsen.
And we are back. I am reminding you that the DeBruyn 2024 pet calendars are in. They are ready to pick up. I've been printing those things up like crazy right now. I just ask if your pet's in it. Of course, you get a free one, but if your pet is not in it, a couple bucks to Island Dogs is all I ask. It's our major way of getting money for Island Dogs during the year. We're doing pretty well right now, so I'm pretty excited about that. We're also doing the pet food drive, and this benefits the Furry Friends Pet Food Pantry here in the Holland area. They hand out food to people that can't afford really to feed their pets. So I always like that. And we do have a caller on the line. Good morning, caller. You're on the Garden Show.
Good morning, Jan.
Good morning.
I really don't have any questions about plants or anything, but I just wanted to call and say happy holidays. Have a wonderful Christmas.
Oh,
And I love your stories.
oh, well, thank you very much. And you have a wonderful Christmas.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Well, thank you. That's always nice to hear. I always like to talk about something that's relevant to plants, and Christmas is very relevant to plants. I'm always more so than any other of the holidays. Is Christmas and plants kind of go together, and that's why shopping at DeBruyn's is always fun. We still do have some Christmas cactus left. We have some paperwhite bulbs. They're really fun to do. They have really long stalks and little white petite flowers on the ends. They're really pretty to do, really easy to do. It's something that kids love to do. Now, these are not bulbs that you can reuse later on. They come from Israel, around in that area there. They don't grow outside around here, and they don't re-blossom. So once you do them, enjoy them, and then they're a throwaway type item after holidays. But don't feel guilty about it. That's the way they're supposed to be. That's the way they are. But they are fun and really, really easy. You don't even need to put those in dirt. So that's a fun thing. And, of course, I'm always collecting aid for Island Dogs and Save a Gato down in Puerto Rico. I'll take all your prescription medications that you didn't use all of it. I will gladly take it and send it down. And medical supplies like syringes, obviously unused syringes and needles, bandage material, gauze, anything like that. I'll take heartworm medication, flea and tick stuff, anything like that. We got DeBruyn's had got a Christmas card from Island Dogs, and it has some pictures of the cutest little puppies on it. Oh my goodness, they're absolutely adorable. Hopefully they found homes, but yes, it's so much fun to get stuff and send it down. I never know if they're really going to use it or not. I got a case of shampoo, dog and cat shampoo, that I sent down to them, and they had to send me a note saying, "Thank you so much. Now we go in the kennels and everybody smells so nice." And I got a kick out of that because they do bathe any animal that stays in the kennel once a week. You almost have to because of fleas and ticks, etc., things like that. But oh my goodness, I just felt nice that, we helped all those animals smell nicer. If they smell nicer when people come to adopt, it's a good chance that they'll get, picked quicker than if it's a dirty, disgusting place. So, yes, everybody gets a bath now because they have plenty of shampoo. Thank you very much, West Michigan. You guys always come through for me. Thank you so much. I did send a couple boxes down last week. I'm sending more boxes down this week. They do get a lot of boxes from us every year, so always be very thankful of that. You've got a couple hours left here of the 20% off bird feeders at DeBruyn's. I think that sale is done as of the end of the day today. That's a great deal if you're looking at getting a new bird feeder. We've got everything. The guys have kept up the inventory of, it's not like we're down to nothing anymore, but we've got a lot of really nice feeders there, and just about every price range you could possibly want, from $10 on up. And then getting 20% off is a good deal. So think about that. We do have bird feeders. Gift certificates seem to be a real favorite this year. If you don't know what to buy, a gardener or somebody that likes to feed the birds, get them a gift certificate to DeBruyn's. They can come in and get bird seed with their gift certificate, or they can come in the spring and buy their plants and their seeds with it. So a great gift for almost everybody, either a gardener or a birder, or probably both. So you never know. We've got dog treats, cat toys. And of course we still have some heated pet beds. They're the absolute favorite of little Butterball. He got a new heated bed. And it's right in front of the register up in the office, right by me. And so he loves to sleep in it. Well, of course, it's heated, and every time the hot air comes out, he's hogging up all of it. I have found that by my desk is a lot cooler than it used to be. I'm ready to move that bed somewhere else, but he's really warm. So I guess that's important. I don't know. It makes a marked difference with that bed right next to that air vent. My gosh, he loves that thing. So yes, so remember they do live, on the ground. It's colder down there, than what we think of up here. And we also have now, and everybody looks at me like I'm really strange, but we have battery powered hand sprayers. Now they look like a large bottle that you would normally take your hand and move your fingers to, like a cleaning spray bottle, fantastic 409, something like that, where you got to sit there and move your hand and pump it all the time to get something to come out. Well, these are battery operated, and you can put whatever you want in them, and then you just have to touch the button and it continuously sprays. So you want to clean your bathroom tile, shower, or whatever, put the bathroom cleaner in that thing and just don't have to sit there and kill your hand pumping that thing. You just put a battery in it and you can spray it all around, and then you can just clean it up. I love these things. I use it in the seed lab all the time just for water to spray my plants that are growing. Love, love, love these things. I bought 2 of them at my house. Yeah, I think it's very important. So it's something, I know it sounds like such a waste, but my hands have got arthritis in them so bad that it just is so much nicer just to touch a little button rather than pump something to get liquid out of it. So that's a couple things that we have at DeBruyn's. Got a couple hours yet for shopping. I will be back here next Tuesday on Boxing Day at 8:40 with Dan, and then again at 10 o'clock with Gary for the hour-long garden hour on Talk of the Town. And I'll be back here next Saturday on New Year's Eve with Adam here. It'll be just the 2 of us again. And we will be talking about, the end of the year, all what made the awards list during the week. We will be talking about what were the most annoying things that happened during the year out in our garden and whatever. So that should be fun. But until then, I am wishing you all the most merry Christmases, and just I hope you have a wonderful time with your family, friends, or even if you aren't celebrating, just so you have some good rest off from work. So Merry Christmas from my heart to your family, and go green.
You've been listening to the Jan Meeuwsen Garden Show on 99.7, 1450 WHTC and WHTC.com. If you wish to hear this or other programs hosted by the Master Gardener from DeBruyn Seeds in Zeeland, check out the podcast section of our website, WHTC.com, and listen or download for free. The Jan Meeuwsen Garden Show is a presentation of 99.7 and 1450 WHTC.